Pow, 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 pow! Welcome to the POW Status Update November edition. So we're going to look at what happened with POW in November. So it's actually been a super good month for POW, I would say, because there are, and I'm just going to look over at my notes, there are 8 new people subscribed and 1 canceled. So that leaves us at 48 subscribers going into December. And that's 7 more subscribers than last month. So pretty pleased with that, actually. And the one person who canceled left, I tried to send everyone who cancels an email asking them for feedback, because I know it's early days for POW and people might have expectations that I can't fulfill yet, but I want to know what I can do to fulfill their expectations in the future. So I sent out an email where I was asking that type of question, and she replied, and with some amazing feedback, and then even some sketches for how I could visualize the cycle data in a way that she would like, and they look really great. And I asked her if she would mind if I uploaded them to my GitHub issue so that I can have that as a reminder. And she was a dev, so she just did it herself. So let's have a look at that. So I just wrote up like a general issue for data visualization, and then she came in and she added like all of these beautiful visualizations, and they were along the line of what I had been thinking I wanted to do, but I hadn't been able to visualize them as beautiful yet. And I also found then this, when doing some research, I found this this visualization framework. Yes, I would like to upload to the latest. And as you can see, some of these are very much like the ones she made. So I'm thinking I can use this component for kind of this view, where it would be the lengths, and then these little markers here will be the tags. So that was very cool that she came with those ideas. So building in the open people is super fun. You know, people like this. No, things like this happen. So Joy is saying, yes, I'm so lucky. I absolutely have the best users. She's not a customer anymore, but she is still awesome. And I am hoping to woo her back when I get some more functionality into POW. And I'll just have a drink. So this also got me thinking that maybe a good idea for the future would be to open source kind of the analytics engine of POW. Just gonna make that a little bit smaller. Yeah, so I have an idea that kind of like the foundational analytics part of POW, which is pretty rudimentary at the moment, but I'm thinking I would like to open source that, because knowledge into the menstrual cycle is limited. And I think it would be really interesting if several people, like researchers, data scientists, myself, and others could kind of get together to build like a proper analytics engine or statistics engine, or I don't know what to call it, and then have that be an open source project. And then POW would just be one service on top of that analytics engine. It would obviously fit me very well, since I would be the one, you know, spearheading the initiative. But I think that's something that would kind of inspire me and keep me motivated, and also keep me going with POW, because I have now decided, we'll see how that goes, but I have decided that POW is like my big project for the next decade. So some of you might know, if you joined me in one of the Friday streams, or Friday a week and a half ago, anyways, that I have been an independent consultant and indie hacker for 10 years. And I've tried so many different things. I've learned a lot. Some were successful, some were less successful, but I am hoping to bring like all of that learning into POW and let POW be like my major thing for the next decade. It's a little scary, but I think POW can really go places, and it can go in so many different directions. Like doing this open source analytics engine, I can do like fun merch. I could end up doing like a conference on the menstrual cycle or femtech tech, or there's so many places I could go with POW. So I find that very motivating to keep going. But I know with myself that I'll have to have several other smaller projects on the side, because that's just the way I work. But I want POW to be like my big thing and like my mark on the tech world, if that makes sense. Kind of big goals there. But anyways, I would love to hear what you think about making an open source and open sourcing the kind of analytics engine. That would be interesting if somebody thinks that is a terrible idea, or if somebody thinks that's an awesome idea. I'm always open for feedback. I might not take it, but I'm always open for it. So let's see what's next on my notes. So yeah, that was the amount of subscribers. So feature-wise this month, I have made it possible to change your chosen menstrual cycle tag, or menstruation tag, I guess. I've made it hard for myself with this product, because I have a hard time both spelling and saying menstruation, but I guess with time it will be better. And this reminds me, I have forgotten to tell you what it actually is. So for anyone jumping in or who don't know what I'm talking about, POW is the Privacy First Menstrual Cycle Journal. So it's a project of mine, and it's kind of an answer to an article I read in the Wall Street Journal, where they discovered that most health apps, also menstrual cycle apps, were selling or sharing data with third parties. So this is kind of my answer to that. But then back to the features I made this month. So I made it possible to change the tag that you use for the days you are menstruating. So POW is based on tags, not on things you kind of not a preset symptoms or tags. You just hashtag like you would in like an Instagram caption or something. So on the days you menstruate, you have to hashtag with your word. And until this month, it wasn't possible to change it. But I took a stab at that on stream, and I found a much easier solution to the issue than I had initially thought. I thought I had to change the tag in all the entries that were already entered, but then I realized you could just add it. So when you kind of change your tag now, what is happening is that you add another tag. So your older entries still have the old tag, and then your newer entries can use the new tag or the old tag, actually, but I won't tell don't tell the users. But that's how it works. So I was pretty pleased, because I thought that was going to be like a major issue that was going to take me a long time, but it turned out to be like a simpler issue. So that's always fun when you find some little nuggets like that. The other the other thing I've done, and I'm going to show you. I think we're going to make it big. So the other thing I've done is that now before it was remember me on or off when you logged in, which is pretty common with apps. But with this app, I want to make it clear what is happening. And I also want to try to make POW kind of educational, so that my users will get to know more about privacy first products, how it works. I want to teach them a little bit about encryption and stuff like that. So this is a step in that direction. Right now, there are only the choices, but in the future, I'm hoping to have like a little eye, for like an info icon on each of them that will link to blog post explaining like why are there, like how does let me have another sip. How are these three options different, and how do they actually work? And what does it mean that other apps don't have all of these choices? So for now, the choices are remember me on this device, remember me until I close the browser, and do not remember me at all. So if you just close down the tab, then it will forget you already and you have to sign in again. So I am hoping the users will like this. I haven't been able to user test this yet, but I haven't gotten any complaints at least. So hopefully people are being able to use this, or they just choose the default, probably. And I chosen the default as remember me on this device, which is usually not the chosen one. Usually it's off and then you turn it on. But for this app, I think most people will use it on their phone and they want to stay logged in. So that's why I defaulted it to that option. So those are the two features that I was able to release in November. And Joy is saying, open source would be a great idea based on reliability. Yeah, that too. It would be really interesting so that people could know how the engine worked and also be able to tweak it and also come with suggestions and also just make their own apps that are exactly the way they want it to work and not how POW works or any other app works. Yeah, and back to the notes. I must also say that making these updates is really beneficial for me as well, because at the end of November, I was feeling a little overwhelmed. If you read my newsletter or if you're subscribed to my newsletter, I talked about that on Sunday, that last week I was feeling completely overwhelmed. And then I usually get that feeling that, oh my God, I haven't been able to do anything. I'm a failure, those kind of thoughts. And I recognize now when I get them, what I need to do is just like take some time off. So I took the full Friday off and I'm over it. I'm really, I'm the overwhelm kind of went away really fast. But also these recaps help, because then I'm like, oh, I actually did make progress on POW this month. Even though at the end of the month, I didn't feel like I had, because I wasn't doing anything at the end of the month. But when I now looked back to my GitHub repo and my tweets and my analytics and stuff like that, I could see that things were actually moving along with POW. I just sometimes I just forget. So, hello. So on to the next point, which is that in November, Marit, my good friend and often partner in crime, did another 4 sessions of user testing. This time it was on, and let me make myself big again. This time it was potential users of the app. So I think we had 4 sessions, and I'm really happy that several of the testers, without being asked, commented on how much they liked the POW kind of brand, the colors and the copy, that it was like straight to the point, nice, bold colors. I didn't try to like make it girly or like, flowers or pinking things up just because it was tech for, people who menstruate. But so that was really nice to see that they actually pick up on that and comment on that, because that's something I really wanted to get across, and it seems like that is working. There were, of course, some issues in the onboarding that I have to look into, but I'm happy that at least like the first impression, they enjoy it and they like it and they welcome it. So that's interesting. So so that I said that we need to fix something with onboarding, and one of the things that I have been talking about since March, I think, when POW was released to the public, is that I need to get a proper like welcome sequence emails when people sign up. I think that's a good, the best would be that your onboarding and your app is like completely self-explanatory, but that is often not the case in the beginning of a project. So a good thing would be for me to have like a welcome sequence where I can explain some of the concepts and how POW works and what I kind of want from POW in the future, that type of thing. So I've actually managed to make or finish off the first one. So thank you, Monica, who is the woman behind Blogging for Devs. She helped me with that one. Thank you so much. And it's been working really well because I've tested it out manually. So I've been sending it to the last 6 signups and 5 of them replied. And that was my goal with that email, is getting replies and getting that conversation started. So yay, that's a win. I would call that a win. The next email that I'm working on is one trying to explain to the user why password reset, or like I forgot my password, doesn't work in an app like POW, where we use end-to-end encryption. And I've been getting some solid feedback from people inside of the Blogging for Dev community, which I really appreciate, because I have a hard time writing. It's kind of gotten better this year because I decided to send a newsletter every Sunday, no matter what. And I have done that. I maybe skipped like 3 or 4 since February. So kind of getting, I'm not afraid to write anymore, but I would say it's not very good yet. So getting feedback from people who are kind of in the same space, tech space, inside of the Blogging for Dev community has really been beneficial. Has really been beneficial to me. So if you're looking into blogging more, just writing more about tech in general, I really recommend the Blogging for Devs community. And I'll have another sip and go back to my notes. I think that was all for November. So in December, I will not be streaming work on POW. I will be focusing on getting this feedback, this welcome sequence done. And I will also work on some behind the scenes stuff where I'm trying to get some demo site up and going, so I have that and blah, 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 blah. Get some demo data up and running, so I will have better data to test on, and also have something that I can show users that want to demo the product before buying it. So that will be my focus, and it's not that interesting to do on stream. But what I'm doing instead is that on Sundays from 10 to 12 my time, that would be GMT +1, I am streaming, working on our entry to the Gatsby Silly Side challenge. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun just to make like a silly site. And what we are making is bottled happiness, where we're trying to bottle up children's laughter so that I and other people can listen to my daughter and her friend laughing. And I'm hoping I can keep it around until she's like 15 and she doesn't want to talk to me anymore. I can go in there and like listen to her laughter. So that is Sundays from 10 to 12. And then I think after Christmas, I will keep on going on Sundays from 10 to 12, but then I will work on POW. And Nick is saying, writing is a skill just like any other. Practice and you get better. And it's really weird for me because I so much agree with the sentiment that if you practice, you get better. But somehow through schooling, probably because I think I'm dyslexic, like undiagnosed, because most of my family is, somehow I just got it into my head that I cannot write. So practice wouldn't help, because I'm not a writer. And now I'm finally kind of broken free from that and realized that it's just practice, as you say, as with any other thing. I might not become the best writer in the world, but I can definitely become better with practice. So it's weird how some things just like lock itself in your head. For most people, I feel like that is math. Like they've just decided they can never learn or get better at math, but I always excelled in that. But for me, it is writing. And writing every Sunday, no matter what, has really helped me. And not everybody on my list has unsubscribed. And some people even reply. So I think they have enjoyed it. So if you want to get an email from me every Sunday, I think you can check the description and there will be a link to the sign up for. And Joy is saying he can't write either, but practice, as Nick was saying, and you're young, so you can practice for many years before you are as old as me and still can't write. I am sure that is not correct. Like you might suck at it at school, but I don't think you would probably suck at the same subject or same things outside of school. So that was all for the POW November status. And I will be doing these live, I think, every month. So on the 8th of every month at 8 o'clock my time, which is now GMT +1, I will be here and I will do a recap of the last month in POW. And with that, we'll close the same way we started. POW, 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 pow.